This podcast contains strong language and adult situations. If that's not your thing, you've been warned.
Welcome to the Fuck My Work Life podcast, Halloween edition.
I'm Kay.
And I'm Jay.
Whoa. Hi, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
It's the Fuck My Work Life podcast.
Halloween edition. This is a good one.
It's our Halloween special. Our first, I'm gonna dare say our first annual Halloween special.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll still be around next year to do the second
We'll still be around.
Annual Halloween special. How are you?
I'm good.
Great.
And you?
I'm good.
Sorry. Gotta clear my throat.
I'm very excited for this episode. We got a couple voicemails. We got some listener stories.
Yep.
We got a couple other fun things lined up.
Yep.
All Halloween related. I won't say all spooky, but all kind of haunting. It has not been a long week, actually, since we recorded last. It's actually been pretty mellow.
Yeah. This week's been, it's gone by quick.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
It's definitely gone by quick. For me, it's the calm before the storm.
Yeah.
Work's going to get real busy for me again next week. But for now, I'm enjoying the calmness of it. Looking forward to Halloween party.
Yes. That's going to be fun.
We didn't have, well, not us. A friend of ours has a Halloween party every year, but of course didn't have it last year because of fucking COVID. So excited.
Fucking COVID.
Excited to have that back this year because I haven't really done anything else Halloween-y.
No, we didn't even decorate.
I haven't really been in the mood. I'm not going to go into why, but yeah. So anyway, I'm very excited for this episode because I love Halloween.
You do.
I do. I got my Halloween shirt on.
You're growing on me though. Like
I'm growing on you?
Yeah. With the Halloween thing.
Oh.
Like before you, I was like, Halloween. That's great. I'm not 7. Like I'm good. And then
I forced you to have costumes every year.
Yes, and then we have costumes every year and go to Halloween parties, which I mean, I wouldn't mind going to Halloween parties BK, before K. But I definitely would not dress up for them. I would just go ask where the beer is and make sure, no one drank more than they should.
Including yourself?
Well, no.
Yeah.
I get to drink as much as I want.
Oh, you just regulate everyone else's drinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's mine. Nope. Not that one either.
Don't touch that one.
Nope. No. Look, just go somewhere else. Go to a different ice chest. This one's mine.
Speaking of beer, that's a good segue into we drink
because we work.
And just tell us what you're drinking.
Everybody knows, especially after the
last episode.
Shout out, the last episode and the shout out to or the call out to Coors Light. I'm drinking Coors Light.
Yeah.
If anybody would like to tell me why Coors Light is not a good beer, I will gladly take on that debate, because if it wasn't a good beer, it wouldn't have been around for as long as it has, and other stuff.
Yeah.
I'm also saying that because if Coors Light does listen, I want them to know that I'm a huge supporter.
They've officially been called out, and they haven't gotten to us yet, but I'm guessing it's in the works, we're on their list, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm waiting to show up from work, make it home from work, and there be a pallet of Coors Light on our doorstep. Like, here you go.
All the neighborhood kids
here's a
tearing
year's worth.
Into it.
Yeah, here's a year's worth of Coors Light.
Yeah. I'm not going to hold my breath, but, balls in your court, Coors.
That's right.
I am drinking, of course, because it's Halloween times and this is our Halloween special. I am drinking a Needs More Pumpkin. Oh, shit, and I just spilled it on my notes. Needs More Pumpkin Spiced Pumpkin Porter from Green Flash Brewery, which is they're local, right?
Yeah.
Local brewery. That's delightful. It's not overly pumpkin-y, but it's got a nice rich...
Yeah.
It's got a nice rich, full-bodied flavor.
I would like to try one.
Yeah, have a sip. What do you think of it? I think it's pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah.
Well, it's only 5.5%.
Tastes like a porter.
Alcohol.
It's got a little pumpkin hint to it. Mm-hmm. It's actually not bad, but I've always liked Green Flash beers.
I think this is my first one I've tried. I think we tried one at... Did we hit the Green Flash tent at the beer festival last weekend?
We may have.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. I think I went to almost
all of them.
All of them.
Yeah. No, but that's really good. I like that. I have another beer lined up that I'm going to try later that I'm going to talk about when I get to it. But this one.
Yeah.
This one needs more pumpkin, spiced pumpkin.
It ain't no fucking Coors Light, but shit.
Sorry, Coors.
You can't wish for every beer place to have good beer, like the best beer.
Coors Light.
Just beer.
I wonder if I'm going to have to stop talking about other beers once Coors sponsors us. We'll work something out in our contract.
You also said you weren't holding your breath. So
I'm speaking
one step at a time.
This is my audio what do they call it? Vision board.
Oh yeah.
My oratory vision board. I don't know.
Ooh, since it's Halloween, we should get a Ouija board and see if we can contact Coors through that. Or like
the spirits of Coors Molson. Hey. What is it?
Yeah.
Wasn't there some weird conspiracy with Coors where one of the sons was murdered and his body was I don't know. Anyway, that's not our type of podcast.
If you ask me like what company makes Coors Light, I'll tell you Coors. Well,
Coors
you know what?
Brewing Company.
Oh, it is Coors.
Yeah, but I think there's a parent company, but whatever.
So I was right. So that's good. But when they do sponsor us, we'll learn that shit.
Isn't Budweiser Anheuser-Busch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Fuck Budweiser.
Yeah, fuck Budweiser.
Fuck Budweiser.
Yeah.
Coors.
And their fucking lame ass seltzer beers.
Coors hasn't come up. They have to have one too, right? Anyway.
Yeah, it's called Coors Light.
That's their seltzer beer.
That's their seltzer
water. Peace water. Okay. So, do you want to get into some stuff?
Yeah. What do we got first?
So first, I came up with a small... I actually did like a little bit of research for this.
Whoa.
I know, which we don't ever do for our podcast. But I thought it would be fun. I didn't find exactly what I was looking for, but I found some good enough stuff. I thought it'd be fun to look up, see if I could find like the first jobs or early jobs of kind of like iconic horror Halloween actors.
Oh, okay.
So first I did a call out on Twitter to see who came to mind when people thought of like iconic horror actors. So we got a couple of suggestions from that. And then I come up with a couple of my own. So
okay.
So these are first jobs of kind of iconic horror actors. So the first one, of course, this was the first one I thought of, and then also Leo Allen from the Voluntary Input podcast suggested this one as well. Everyone knows Vincent Price is like...
I have no idea who that is.
He is known for horror movies, and he's got just like this kind of creepy voice. So quick thing on Vincent Price. So he was born in 1911 in St. Louis, Missouri. He was an actor best known for his brilliant performances in horror films. Vincent graduated from Yale University in 1933 and spent a year as a school teacher before, as he put it, I had the extraordinary experience of finding out that I knew nothing. So
nice.
He quit that and moved on to acting. So he was a school teacher briefly before he became a horror actor. The next one, this is one, I'm surprised no one said this, but this is one of the first ones I thought of as well. Miss Cassandra Peterson, better known as Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
Yes.
So, born in 1951 in Manhattan, Kansas, she's best known as portraying horror movie TV hostess Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. So during her teens, Peterson worked as a drag queen go-go dancer in a Colorado Springs, Colorado gay bar. Then she began her career at the age of 17 as the youngest showgirl in Las Vegas history in the show Viva Les Girls at the Dunes Hotel. In the early 1970s, Peterson moved to Italy and became lead singer of the Italian rock bands I Latins 80 and The Snails.
Nice.
So she had a very interesting...
So it is a she then?
Yeah.
Well, you said one of her first jobs was as like a drag queen.
Yeah, but she like...
But that... Okay.
You can be a female drag queen.
Oh, I didn't know. What?
Yeah. Yeah, I know it's kind of... She's a female working as a drag queen in a gay bar.
Yeah. That's what threw me. I was like, whoa, was Elvira a dude the whole time?
No way, man. Not with those knockers.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, okay. I'm not going to go into the whole semantics of pronouns and what. But anyway. Okay, the next one. Let's see if you know who this is. Robert Englund.
Yes, that's Freddy Krueger.
Yes, okay, good.
That was one of the ones I was going to suggest to you.
Yeah.
But then I didn't.
Then you didn't, but I'm glad you know who that is. So born in 1947, Robert Englund is best known for playing fictional serial killer Freddy Krueger in the Nightmare on Elm Street film series. So one of his earliest jobs was as a temporary set builder on John Carpenter's original Halloween. So he says, I had a roommate who conned me into going to Pasadena one day with garbage bags full of dead leaves, and we were working on the set of the original Halloween, throwing the dead leaves around so it looked like autumn.
So that it wasn't long after he was like working on that set that...
Yeah, because, well, Halloween came out in 70...
Like, what,
Seven?
6, 7?
76?
Yeah, somewhere around
Some
there.
in the 70s, and then the first Nightmare on Elm Street was 81.
Yeah. So that's not very long from like being a set person to being an icon in a movie.
Right.
You know, which I guess in 81 they didn't know that Nightmare on Elm Street was going to be so big.
Yeah.
But I remember, I mean, shit, when I was a kid, I was Freddy Krueger like multiple times. And I was Jason from Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah, Friday the 13th. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's Michael Myers from Halloween.
Yeah, Michael Myers is Halloween.
Jason
Friday the 13th
Voorhees.
is Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger.
Yeah. I've never seen any of the Halloween movies.
No?
No.
The Halloween movies are actually...
I really want to see the original.
Like, they're pretty...
Gory, right?
No, not so gory, but they're creepy.
Yeah.
They're creepier than... But they're definitely creepier than Nightmare on Elm Street. Nightmare on Elm Street...
Was
like,
so cheesy.
Even as a kid,
to me.
they were gory in some ways, but Freddy Krueger had a fucking sense of humor.
Yeah.
You know, and it was funny.
You've got the body, and I've got the brains.
Yeah, it was like...
I'm kind of weird because as much as I love Halloween, I'm not a huge fan of gory horror movies. The two, like, we've watched a couple real stupid, supposedly creepy movies the past couple weeks, but they weren't gory. Like, I like the hauntings or like the demon possession type movie. I don't like the slasher type horror movies. It just, I don't know.
Yeah,
it gives me anxiety.
I would say that Michael Myers' Halloween was more... It was along the same lines as Friday the 13th, as Jason Voorhees, but it was more believable because Jason Voorhees was like a kid who drowned in a lake and came back to fucking kill everyone at the camp. He drowned in a lake at a
Crystal
camp.
Lake.
Yeah, Camp Crystal Lake.
Yeah.
And came back to kill all of...
And he was the hockey mask guy, right?
Yes. He started with a potato sack and then moved on to a hockey mask.
Okay.
Halloween was like a kid who killed his family, went to an insane asylum, and then busted out of this insane asylum.
And then is his mask supposed to be like a real human mask or something?
Yeah, I forget.
Of his mother or some shit.
No, it was so
We're not
I saw
film
something
podcast.
on the internet where they took a Halloween mask. I think it was of who's the guy who was the original Star Wars Captain Kirk?
William Shatner.
Yes. I'm pretty sure the Halloween mask
was his face.
Well, when they did the movie, it was a mask they bought of William Shatner, like an actual Halloween mask of William Shatner, and then they just painted it white. And that was his mask. I'm pretty sure I saw that somewhere on the internet, which means it has to be true.
So all of the movie podcasts, if you know the answer to this, if this is a real story, let us know.
I thought you were telling me something.
No, you're like, what?
I was like, huh? What?
One tiny quick story before I move on to the next one. Growing up, my brothers got a hold of one of my dad's old camcorders and started making like movies around the neighborhoods with their friends. And one of the movies they made was like based on Mike Myers, and they had the mask and just like a black jumpsuit, and they were teenagers, you know, they were filming themselves running around the neighborhoods, like chasing just random kids on their bikes, like in the Michael Myers thing. God, I wish those things still existed. Like, they were just such dicks, but it was so
I wouldn't be surprised
funny.
if your dad still has those tapes.
Oh my God, it was hilarious. They did some really funny shit. I can't think of any of the other ones right now, but that one just popped out because of Mike Myers' mask. Okay. Anyway, the next one, and I have to admit, I don't know who this was before I looked him up. But this one was suggested by our friend Mark over at 100 Things We Learned from Film podcast. And
love
also,
that guy.
Yeah, we love Mark and John. And then also David Carey suggested this one as well.
Mark.
Take me to the toilet.
Can you take me to the toilet?
I'm sure that haunts him still.
Yeah, no shit. Talk about a Halloween fucking story.
Okay, so this actor's name is Peter Cushing. So he's an English actor born in 1913. You know who Peter Cushing is?
Well, no, but I've heard the name.
Okay. English actor born in 1913, gained worldwide fame for his appearance in 22 horror films, including The Doctor in Frankenstein and also Dracula.
Yes, I think that's where
You recognize him from Dracula?
Yeah. Well, both of them.
He didn't play Dracula. I think he played who's the one that's always haunting him? Van Helsing?
Van Helsing.
Okay. I could be wrong on that again. I just did quick research. Okay. Cushing wanted to enter the acting profession after school, but his father opposed the idea, despite the theatrical background of several of his family members. Instead, seizing upon Cushing's interest in art and drawing, he got his son a job as a surveyor's assistant in the drawing department of the Colston and Purley Urban District Council's surveyor's office during the summer of 1933. Cushing hated the job, where he remained for 3 years without promotion or advancement due to his lack of ambition in the profession. Yeah, we've all been there, buddy.
Yep. So I recognize the name Peter Cushing, and it might be from Frankenstein or Dracula, but I think he did other things too. He may have done other things.
Yeah, I mean, it said he did.
Did he like make movies also?
I don't know. I was just looking for early jobs. Yeah, I didn't read. Yeah. I'm a bad researcher. But I also didn't want to spend hours and hours.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot of work doing research like that.
Yeah. I'm glad we're not a research heavy podcast. All right. So the next one, this one was suggested by our other friend Kelly over at the Drunk Theory podcast.
Love her too. She's got some good drinks.
Yeah. So she suggested Tim Curry. So not an immediate like Halloween thing, but he's done, like Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yes.
So let me get into it. Okay. So Tim was born in England in 1946. Though he has a wide-ranging career, he has had some memorable roles in classic horror films such as Rocky Horror Picture Show and the 1990 miniseries version of Stephen King's It, and TV movie The Worst Witch. Fun fact, he's terrified of clowns, even though he played Pennywise.
Nice.
A prominent sufferer of coulrophobia. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Coulrophobia.
How's it spelled?
Coulrophobia.
Yeah, something phobia.
Yeah. Curry is so scared of clowns that he even had a clause written into his contract for It, which ensured he would never have to see himself in costume. Curry's first full-time role was as part of the original London cast of the musical Hair in 1968, where he met Richard O'Brien, who went on to write Curry's next full-time role, that of Dr. Frankenfurter in the Rocky Horror Show. I couldn't find anything but acting for him as far as jobs were concerned. But he started really young, so he may not have...
We should have reached out to him personally and been like, hey, are you still alive? You're cool.
He is, but he suffered a major stroke in 2012, and he's like in a wheelchair, and he still does a lot of voice acting, and he'll do
so he can probably still remember, like,
I'm sure,
my first job
back in the day. I love Tim Curry, though. He's so quirky. Okay, and then the last one, we've been talking a lot about Halloween. So the Sorry You're in My Seat podcast suggested Jamie Lee Curtis. So I think besides Halloween, that was pretty much her extent into the horror genre.
No. Have you ever seen Aliens? That's a fucking horror flick.
That wasn't Jamie Lee Curtis. That was Sigourney Weaver.
That's what I said.
This is why we're not a film podcast, everybody.
You don't know. I feel like you don't know movies.
I mean, I don't, but apparently I know them more than you. I don't know movies. I know actors.
They look alike. I mean, they have dark hair.
They're females around the same age. I think that's much as it is.
You know what?
Extended. Anyway, let's talk about Jamie Lee Curtis. This one's short. So she was born into an acting family in 1958. Her mother, father, and sister were all actors. Curtis attended one semester of law school before dropping out to pursue a career in acting. Her film debut was actually in the 1978 horror film Halloween. So that was
her debut.
That was her first movie. Yep.
Wow.
And she just this year came out with a new Halloween that she's in. So Jesus, that's as old as we are. She's been doing it for as long as we've been alive.
Yes, she has.
That is insane.
But when did Aliens come out? No, I'm kidding.
All right, that's it for my section.
All right.
Thanks, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that because I actually did research on it.
Yeah, that was good.
Thank you. All right, so now you've got like an article about some haunted workplaces.
Yes.
Because not only cemeteries and other, I mean, I guess people work at cemeteries. Anyway.
Yeah, but they're fucking weird.
I don't know. I think it'd be cool to work at a cemetery.
No, I said cool. Yeah, they're cool.
That's right.
Ghosts in the Workplace: True Tales of Haunted Offices. This one is by Barbara Swinson from allbusiness.com. When we imagine ghosts, we traditionally think of disembodied souls haunting old cemeteries and ruined mansions.
I think of men running around in sheets with holes cut in them.
Yeah. Well, I mean.
Or a cat.
Yeah. But times have changed. Today, more and more offices and places of business have become home to otherworldly spirits, and there are lots of stories of ghosts in the workplace, too. Many people have heard of or experienced firsthand strange and inexplicable events in their workplace. Some folks enjoy the air of mystery these tales lend to an otherwise dull workday, but some are uneasy and avoid sticking around alone after hours for fear of an encounter with more than just the janitor, who typically is pretty fucking creepy.
You want some of this milk?
Like their brethren that frequent cemeteries and old houses, office ghosts tend to do their haunting late at night.
Can I interrupt you?
Yes, you can.
How fucking depressing is it to think that after you die, your soul is stuck in your fucking workplace?
Your fucking workplace. I know. That would
kill me.
Like, fuck. Yeah. Well, you're already dead. So what are you going to do?
I mean, I guess it could, like, if you're a sadistic fuck, it could be fun to just fuck with people that you hated while you were alive.
Yeah. If the haunting started immediately after you died, yeah, I'd be fucking with my bosses.
Take this, Karen, you fucking bitch.
Yeah, I would be fucking with my bosses so much. If, like, I died and then popped up at my work, as a spirit.
Just immediately.
I'd be like, okay, I'm going to move the mouse. I'm going to tap the keyboard. I'm going to flip the lights on and off.
Yeah.
Okay. Where was I? Like their brethren that frequent cemeteries and old houses, office ghosts tend to do their haunting late at night. Apparitions, voices, footsteps, knocks, and doors slamming after most people have left for the day are some of the ways these ghosts make their presence known.
We have some of these stories if you guys want to go back and listen to Work is Scary Part 1 and 2.
Yes. For people who are bothered by someone looking over their shoulder while they work, having an active office ghost about can be more than a little unnerving. Get out. Type faster. That would be fucked up if you were at work and like a disembodied voice said, type faster.
Did you get the memo?
Yeah.
This could have been an email.
Yeah, that would be the best one. This shit could have been an email.
Don't microwave fish in the break room.
You sorry sack of shit. Quit picking your nose. People can see you. Your blinds aren't closed to your office. That's actually a helpful ghost.
Yeah. You're not fooling anyone.
Yeah.
Everyone knows you're a lazy piece of shit. Okay, now I want to haunt my office.
Quit jacking off in the big stall in the bathroom. People can hear you.
We know what you're doing. Ew. Okay.
All right, that's enough. So that was the end of that story, but we have another one.
Was that a story or just the intro?
Oh yeah. That was the end of the intro.
Okay.
Now to the first story of True Tales of Haunted Offices. You are not good at that.
Fuck off. I was trying to change it up a little bit.
Ghost in the Capitol. At the Eisenhower Executive Office Building in Washington, D.C., employees whisper about ghostly apparitions they say roam the stately building's halls at night. Built in the French Second Empire style and located close to the White House, the 19th century edifice exudes an air of mystery.
Could somebody use their thesaurus right in this article?
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Come on, Barbara.
Yeah, come on, Barbara. Like, what the fuck are you trying to do? We're trying to do a podcast.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt.
The resident ghosts are particular and seem to prefer the corridors of the building rather than any of the private offices. The offices of one nonprofit business in Washington, D.C. are home to Hobag spirits.
What?
What?
Hobag spirits?
No. Sorry. Ghostly. Because I almost said hostly. Like the G was silent.
Damn Hobag spirits.
The offices of one nonprofit business in Washington, D.C. are home to ghostly spirits who love to keep the office workers on edge. One woman, whose office on the third floor was known informally as the Ghost Room,
Ooh.
reported being alone in the building one night when she began hearing the sound of slamming doors in the outside hall. She opened her office door and looked out, but saw no one. After closing the door, she heard another door slam, and then the shuffling of footsteps approaching her door. While she listened, the footsteps grew louder, and then softer as they moved down the hallway, followed by the unnerving sound of a female voice laughing.
I know a lot of females who laugh like that.
Isn't that how all you guys laugh? I'll get you, my little pretty. When the woman recounted her ghostly tale to coworkers the following day, she found that others had similar stories of ghosts in the workplace to tell. These included seeing a woman's face in a window on the third floor, hearing a female voice calling out their name followed by footsteps running down the hall, and finding a coworker's visiting child taking an invisible woman in the third floor conference room.
Wait, what?
What? Oh, and finding a coworker's visiting child talking.
Oh,
I gotta stop. taking a woman in
there. What's happening?
What? What is this kid doing?
Wow.
And finding a coworker's visiting child talking to an invisible woman in the third floor conference room. I think all of these can be explained, okay? Seeing a woman's face in a window on the third floor, there was someone in the third floor in the window.
Or there's just a dirty window.
Hearing a female voice calling out their name followed by footsteps running down the hall that's your boss trying to call you and
running away?
and you running away and her chasing you.
Hey, Susan, I gotta go.
The kid talking to an invisible woman. Well,
they're a kid.
Yeah, they're a kid.
Yes, but kids have invisible friends a lot. But maybe those are all ghosts.
I did when I was a kid.
Was it a ghost? Did you actually see something?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah, I mean, you told me before what was
Devin. My imaginary friend when I was a kid was Devin.
I never had one. I've always been lonely.
We did everything.
That's nice.
One office worker quit after he kept finding the photos on his wall, neatly arranged on the floor every morning when he arrived for work.
I feel like that should go into our prank wars episode. That was a coworker fucking with you.
Yeah, definitely. That was the end of that one.
Okay.
But there's 2 more.
I just want to say, not that I don't believe in paranormal stuff, but this shit sounds like someone's like just fucking with you.
No, it's real.
Okay.
This one is called Spirits Who Won't Leave. Theories abound as to why some spirits haunt particular office buildings. These include workaholic souls who had an affinity for a particular place, people who may have died suddenly or tragically in the building, or even those that lived or died on the same spot long before the modern structure was built.
Mm.
An office manager in a doctor's office was working late after everyone else had gone home. While filling out some paperwork, she looked up and saw an elderly man standing before her.
Mm-mm.
Annoyed, she asked him how he had gotten in. He answered her with a sinister smile, then walked away silently through the front door. Well, what the fuck was his answer?
He just smiled and walked away because he's a creepy ghost.
Oh, yeah. That's okay. I got it.
Yeah.
Upon investigation, she learned that an elderly man had died in the building years before and had a tendency to make regular appearances, especially around the anniversary of his death.
Do ghosts? Sorry.
What's that?
Do ghosts know anniversaries and stuff? I guess I'll find out when I become a ghost someday.
Yeah, you'll know soon. Anyway.
I gotta go.
Office buildings aren't the only businesses visited by ghostly spirits. One evening at closing time, a bank guard noticed an elderly woman dressed in black. He called out to the woman and told her the bank was closing and she would have to leave. As he approached her, she smiled and vanished right before his eyes, leaving him standing there dumbfounded. Whoever she was or had been, the ghost had no intention of ever leaving the bank.
Oh, God. Poor ghost. At least it's not the DMV, I guess.
I'm sure there's fucking ghosts there.
Stuck in the DMV forever.
How many people, I wonder if we looked it up, how many people have died
waiting for their turn in the DMV?
Yeah, waiting for their turn at the fucking DMV.
Do you remember that show? Fuck, what was it? I can't remember if it was Reaper or if it was, shit. What is the name of that show where they were Grim Reapers? I can't think of it right now, but where they went to get their assignments of souls that they had to reap was the DMV. There was like a demon working in the DMV that they got their assignments from. Anyway.
So the last story is called Ghosts Are Us. Can you guess where this took place?
Either Toys R Us or Kids R Us.
Oh my God. You're like a genius. Employees at the former Toys R Us store in Sunnyvale, California, were more than familiar with the other side.
Mm.
People reported seeing bathroom faucets turning themselves on and toys moving down the store aisles at night. Employees of this haunted toy store also reported seeing ghostly fog-like apparitions and even free-floating frisbees.
They just want to have fun too. Ghosts have more.
Some businesses, such as Captain John Stone's Public House and the Groveland Hotel, embrace their haunted history and ghostly residents as a way to attract curious visitors. In these establishments, the ghosts not only haunt the place, but have become an integral part of the success of the business. And that's the end.
That's the end. Why is it always toys that are like haunted and fucking creepy?
Or kids. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, kids are just fucking creepy. Sorry, people with children. Okay, so now we have a voicemail from Tim from the Against All Oddities podcast about a spooky Halloweenish couple experiences that he's had at work.
Let's hear it, Tim.
Let's hear it, and I'm going to get another beer while we listen.
Hey, this is Tim from the Against All Oddities podcast, and I've been working in various positions in a hospital for about 15 years. I currently work as a physician assistant, and I actually love my work life, so don't fuck my work life. I really enjoy it, and I appreciate my position. It's rewarding, and I get a lot out of it. But a lot of gross or funny or weird stuff happens sometimes, and I was trying to think of Halloween-related different things that may have happened that's safe to tell in a public setting. One of which is I used to wear clown shoes to work whenever I worked Halloween. I'd wear business casual with like a button-up shirt and dress pants and clown shoes because it's fun and it's quirky, but it's still like professional enough to get the job done until there was an emergency that I had to go to fairly quickly. And I was kind of I wasn't running, but I was kind of speed walking a little bit and went to turn a corner in the hallway and just ate shit. Landed right on my face, slammed into the ground pretty hard in front of some people. But then, you gotta keep going. So you just get up and keep on trucking. And I didn't have any other shoes too, so I was stuck in these clown shoes for a while. So that was fun. And then one that's not really Halloween related, but it's kind of, I guess, in the theme. Sometimes when you transfuse blood, it's done with a pressure bag. So the unit of blood is put into it's like vinyl or something bag. And the back side of it, it pumps up like a blood pressure cuff. And the front side is mesh. And you don't just crank down the pressure, but you pump it up till it hits a certain level, and there's a little gauge on it. But the person that was pumping the blood up on a patient in an ICU where the doors are glass and the floors are beige and the walls are white, didn't realize it had already been pumped up and was distracted with other things starting to go on and just kept pumping and pumping. And the bottom of the bag sort of bulged out and forward and kept pumping until boom, the room went from clean and nice to absolute bloodbath within a half of a second, and it everybody just stopped, and the entire unit was just completely quiet, and then all ran over there thinking some horrible horror story tragedy had just happened, and there were two people in the room. Fortunately, the patient was spared, but the two people in the room and the equipment was not spared, and it was facing kind of towards the door, so it was a bomb went off in there. But so yeah, the blood exploded. Everybody was okay. It just took forever to clean up, and all the equipment had to get swapped out and everything. So it just looked like a scene out of Carrie, or some sort of horror movie. So that's as Halloween as I can get. But love the show. Keep up the good work. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Wow.
Holy shit.
So
the blood bag explosion?
Oh, God, that's... I wonder if people had to be tested for things after that.
Well, I think the blood is I mean, all of the blood is tested before it's.
Yeah, that's true. They wouldn't just like.
Like,
That would be bad practice.
Shit, we're sorry. We gave you a bag full of syphilis.
So this reminded me, because he had like the clown shoes mishap. It reminded me of a tweet that we got when we were talking about Halloween things that have happened at work. And so we got this one tweet from the Green Shirt podcast. And they said, I have an office job, but often do video calls with clients after a brief phone chat. One Halloween, I gave the client fair warning that Beetlejuice would be on the screen when we connected. I don't know what she was expecting, but she laughed for 2 straight minutes once we connected. And there's a picture. I'll show you and I'll post it on Twitter later. But that was what the client saw. Full on Beetlejuice costume on the Zoom call.
The makeup and everything.
Yeah. Okay, so I grabbed another beer. Jay's still drinking Coors, of course. Sponsor us, Coors. I grabbed. Okay, so this one I'm going to dedicate to a couple people. First, I'm going to dedicate it to Mike from the Neatcast, because this beer is called Bat Squatch, and I'm pretty fucking sure that he did a cryptid thing on the Bat Squatch. It's like bat/Sasquatch.
How the fuck does that work?
I don't know, but if I'm wrong about that, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure Neatcast covered that.
Well, Mike, get back to us. Let us know.
Yeah, so this is from Rogue Brewing, and it is a hazy IPA. So I'm also shouting out to one Zach Deuce, because he was the first one to suggest that I try a New England IPA because they're better. And then also, again, the ladies over at Rust Belt Baggage, who looked it up and said on the West Coast, New England IPAs are called hazy IPAs. Yeah. So this is a hazy IPA.
And they're not supposed to be as hoppy, right?
Yeah, they're supposed to be more juicy, whatever the fuck that means.
Yeah, I think we talked about it before. They're kind of more of like a mix between an IPA and a
Hefeweizen?
And a Hefeweizen.
It's good. It's not hoppy at all. I can't even explain it. It's kind of fruity. I want to read what it says about this, but I'm afraid I'm going to spill my beer if I try to read this can. For years, rumors have circled that deep in the woods on Mount St. Helens lives the fabled Bat Squatch. While there are many tales of Bat Squatch, there are all a bit hazy on the details, which makes the truth such a juicy mystery. Some keywords there. So what better way to honor the legend than with a hazy, juicy IPA, perfect for camping and potentially making a new friend. So it's kind of it kind of falls. They have a star. Jesus Christ, they get really into this. They have a star kind of map on the back of the can, and there's each point on the star is tropical, citrus, pine, bitter, and malt. And this star is mostly colored in towards the tropical and the citrus, and that's what I'm getting. It's kind of like it has a kind of a tropical flavor. It's actually very good. So thank you for the suggestions, everyone.
Yeah, I see that star. I'm surprised they didn't post a picture of their Excel spreadsheet of how that.
Oh, it exists.
Those are dorks.
Well, yeah, Rogue Brewing. I think they're local, but I'm not sure. Maybe not. But I'm also going to post a picture of this can because there's a nice drawing of a Bat Squatch on the front. So
yeah.
Anyway, I think I like hazy IPAs, everybody.
We found the IPAs that Kay likes.
That's right. So now I'm going to read a listener story. This is called The Night Watchman. Hello, J and K. You asked for Halloween work-related stories, and I have one that is really creepy and still gives me the chills to think about. It didn't happen on Halloween, but it was around that time of year. Here goes. I used to work as a night watchman / security guard for a historical site. This was a large property with a collection of different buildings that was supposed to represent what life was like during the settlement times of the area.
Can I cut in?
Yeah.
I feel like anytime someone says that they worked for a place that was like used to be a settlement area, they could just cut it short and say it's haunted.
Yeah, that's the end of the story. The end, everybody. Bye. Thanks for listening.
Cool. I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, no. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to work at some of these places because I want to see some creepy shit. It was sort of like a living museum. They were open for daily guided tours and would have reenactments occasionally with volunteers all decked out in Victoria-era clothing, doing old-timey things.
Doing old-timey things.
Doing old-timey things.
Like churning butter and
blacksmithing,
washing clothes with that little metal thing hanging over their shoulder. A washboard.
Just singing by the river. Okay. Doing old-timey things. Since my shift started after the museum closed, I didn't really see exactly what they did. A lot of the buildings were closed to the public because they were in desperate need of restoration, but visitors could walk around and look in the windows. In October, they would host a few Halloween events, pumpkin carving contest, ghost stories and hot chocolate for the kiddos, etc. One of these events was the rare time the place would stay open past dark. It was basically trick-or-treating with volunteers dressed up, handing out caramels and taffy to the kids while also trying to shove some history and culture into their little brains. The event ended at 6 p.m., which wasn't late, but it was dark at that point. I got there around 5 p.m. that day to make sure everyone was ushered out, all the buildings were locked up, and I could start my shift, which consisted of me wandering around the property, bored out of my mind. So, at around 11 p.m. that night, I was walking my normal path around the buildings. I had my Walkman going. That's what old people used to listen to music back in the day, kids. Oh man, Walkmans. And I was only somewhat paying attention to what was going on around me. Nothing ever happened there anyway, so my guard was definitely down. As I turned the corner on a large Victorian building, I saw something move out of the corner of my eye. It kind of startled me, but I figured it was a bird or some sort of wild animal.
It was.
So I went about my patrol. You don't know.
I know.
A little while later, I came around another building and the same thing. Something moved just outside my peripheral, and I quickly turned around to see what it was. Nothing was there. I was starting to get a little unnerved, but again, told myself it was just an animal of some sort. A certain feeling started to creep in, though, like I was being watched, so my awareness was now on full alert. I was walking a bit slower and looking around me everywhere. And then it happened.
Oh, shit. Hey, look. Don't make a security guard. Don't make him go aware. That's when you know you're fucking up. He'll pull that fucking baton and flashlight like...
What is that going to do to a ghost? The buildings are arranged like a street. So I'm on one end of the street looking down the other end, and I see what looks like a volunteer in the Victorian clothing crossing from one side of the street to the other. I was a little taken aback, thinking, why is there still a volunteer here hours later? So I yelled out to her. No reaction. She just keeps walking towards the building on the other side of the street. I yelled again and started jogging towards her, and again, nothing. As I'm getting closer, she reaches the building and walks around the side of it. I pick up my pace even more and get to the side of the building and turn around, and there is nothing there. She was gone. Now, this is a long building, and there are no entrances on this side. There was absolutely nowhere she could have gone. She couldn't have made it all the way around the back within seconds. She, or it, just vanished.
Sorry, I was trying to make a go sound. It's not working.
I was so unnerved, I couldn't focus on my job. I found a bench against a wall because I wasn't going to have an open space behind me, and sat there until the end of my shift. It was so eerie, especially being so close to Halloween. I shared my story with some of the employees, and they swore weird things would happen there during the day, like doors closing on their own and soft voices coming from nowhere. I lasted another couple of years at that job, kind of hoping I would witness something else paranormal, but I never did. And that's the end.
Now, I have something to say.
Okay. Let's get the J skeptic.
No. It's not the J skeptic. It's if this guy was a security guard, he would have found that bench against the wall at the beginning of his shift
and just
sat there the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
Because that's what most of them do.
I mean, yeah, it depends on the person. I would probably like to I wouldn't do it in the first place because I would be scared shitless walking around an empty property by myself all night. But
So you'd find an empty bench against a wall.
I wouldn't take the job in the first place.
So nothing can come up behind you unless it can go through the wall.
Oh, shit.
And then grab you and pull you through the wall to the other side.
Ooh. Okay, you have a story, right?
I do have a story.
Okay. So another listener submitted
another
story.
Listener story.
Okay.
Cheers, J&K. Have I got a good one for you?
Cheers.
I used to be a real estate agent in a small beach town with a long history. I won't go into the history, but there were quite a few graveyards in this small town that dated back over 100 years, and many of them were moved to new locations to build condos and tract homes. In parentheses, of course.
Of course. I was going to say, ooh, tell me where this is, but now I don't care.
Well, one was not moved entirely. Only the headstones were moved. The patrons of said plot were left unearthed. In parentheses again, bad move.
That is some real bad juju right there.
That's some bad juju.
Yeah.
My husband and I were showing one of the houses that was built over this cemetery and fell in love with it. We were secretly hoping no one would be interested, but also needed the money, so either way, we would be happy.
They're just telling potential buyers, oh no, this shit's bad. You don't want it.
This property was one of the larger properties in the area. Many people thought of it more as an estate since it had its own granny flat and what many thought was a horse stable, but no one could ever say. It could have just been a barn of some sort.
Is there a difference?
Yes, there's a difference.
Like horse stables have like stalls.
Okay, yeah, horse stables have stalls and the walkway down the middle. Barns are
just like open and big.
Yeah, barns are like open. They may have like a stall or two in the back for, but a barn is like
more storage, right?
Yeah, it's like storage, but you can also people would also keep their cows or their horses in there. Mm. Where did I leave off? I said it could have been a barn of some sort.
Yep.
Okay. We had many weird happenings while showing this property. It could never really get a solid explanation from people of what they saw due to most of the occurrences happening to little kids. One stood out to us, though. It was very disturbing. One of the parents came to the front of the property with their child screaming and crying, saying someone had attacked him in the barn. We were concerned maybe there was a homeless person staying in the barn, but we were sure we had cleared the property before any of the showings. He said that a man was in the barn and wanted to play jacks with him. He didn't want to, and it upset the man. When the kid tried to run away, he was grabbed by one of his arms and started to get pulled into the barn, but then was let go. We were freaking out at hearing this.
Yeah, like who the fuck plays jacks nowadays?
I know.
Can you even buy those anymore?
Well, I don't know when this was written. Like, I don't know when this happened. Needless to say, the property was not sold and the seller was lowering the price as the days went by. We had a few interested buyers, but no one could ever bite down and take the property. Something always got in the way of the sale happening. My husband and I were elated. We spoke to the owners and voiced our interest in the property. They were in turn also elated. They knew the time we had sunk into trying to get this thing off the market and offered us the property at a severely discounted rate. We should have seen this as a red flag, but we were seeing stars at the time and at that price. We kept getting calls from the family who originally owned the land's lawyers saying they needed to speak with us. We paid it no mind, thinking it was family reaching for some money of some sort and really didn't want to deal with it. They were relentless, so we reached out to them and they wanted to meet in person. So we've invited them out to the house to have a sit down. They came out and proceeded to tell us that the cemetery that the property was built on was their family's private cemetery and had generations of their ancestors buried there. Unfortunately, their wealthy great-uncle acquired the land in a heated battle after the patriarch passed on. He was also the one who made the decision to have Only the headstones moved due to the cost of having the bodies dug up and reburied. The property never felt the same to the rest of the family after that, so they stayed away.
So, did the real estate agents know that there was still a graveyard there? I'm guessing no.
It doesn't sound like it.
Also, would you... I don't know.
What?
I guess I'm like, would you buy a fucking house where a little kid claimed to be accosted in the barn? I guess they could have thought that
Well,
it
I'm
could have
guessing
been...
that's why it never... Well, I don't know. Like these people, maybe
just
they were
wanted a good deal.
starstruck by the property.
Yeah.
Then they told us that the great uncle was also suspected in a few disappearances of children back before he obtained this property, but was always able to squirm his way out of it, probably paying for it also to disappear.
Pedo!
Fucking creepy.
Pedo!
Pedo!
That is really creepy.
That is really creepy.
So was it the pedo ghost trying to get the little kid?
Probably.
Nothing worse than a fucking pedo ghost.
Yeah.
That's creepy. Creepy. I want to know where this town is.
It's where we live.
By the way, you're living right on the cemetery.
You know that little homestead that we always see when we drive up the road?
Oh, yeah.
That's where it happened.
Oh, shit. Okay, we have another voicemail. This one comes to us from Laura from the Irish Spirits podcast.
Yes.
I'll just quickly say she is a historian in Ireland, so
she sees shit.
She sees some shit, but she's got some good stories. So let's listen to those.
Hello, J&K. This is Laura from Irish Spirits. How are you? I don't know how much time I have on Instagram voice notes, so you might just get a flurry of them. But I was trying to decide which kind of, because myself and Quiva were talking about it today in work, of course, and we were chatting about, like, do I want to give you, like, spooky ones, or do I want to give you a nice mix of gory and spooky, because it's been that too. So I have worked in various museums, very, very old buildings in Dublin, and obviously I can't say which ones are which, because they're government buildings mainly, and they're, really high profile landmarks. So I'm just going to say, like, at a castle or in a church or in a whatever, and not say who that is, if that's okay with you guys. But one day at work, so story number 1, I don't know how long I have on, they might cut me off after a minute, I think, so this could be like intro voice. Okay, I was right. So story number 1 is set in the castle. And when I worked in this building, we've always heard stories of people seeing or hearing things go bump. But, like, it's a big building. There's a lot of people that work there. It's quite a cold building. It has lots of hallways and underground tunnels. The typical setting for a scary story. However, one day I was in work and it was a weekend, so there's very little people. It's just the people who are being brought in for weekend work, so there's very few of us in. And as I go into work, I was like, I'm just going to go down to the toilets. Our toilets happen to be down in a basement where the dungeons used to be, right beside where the prison cells were. And when I went down, I was in the toilet and I just went for, a wee, came back out, and I could hear, whilst I was washing my hands, like sniffling, like sobbing, like someone starting to cry. And I realised that there was nobody, I didn't hear anybody else come in, and I had a little look around, and I was like, right, I'm going to have a look at the doors and just check and see, because if it's a colleague of mine, we're the only ones in today, I want to make sure that they're okay. And as I look at all the doors, and I look at, because they have, like, obviously a little vacant or engaged sign on them, they were all vacant, and I could still hear, like someone, like, sobbing like that, like crying, and I was like, oh, good God. So I walk through all the doors, I start pushing them open to be like, and I go, hello, are you okay? Is everyone okay? No one answers. All the doors are empty, all the stalls are empty. I started to panic then, because I'm like, this is not good, this is no bueno. So I go, okay, right, I'm going to head upstairs and just, like, shake it off, it'll be fine. So I go upstairs and I walk into our room, or where our offices are, which is actually just beneath where the actual upper floor of the castle is. So where we are is roughly where the kitchens would have been, where our offices are now. That's been, redeveloped and refurbished into offices. So as I talk to my colleagues, I say, is everyone okay? Like, I heard somebody really upset in the toilet. And they're all looking at me like, no, we're all fine. And we're really close. We've all worked together for so long that I don't think they would have kept it themselves. They would have just been like, oh, look, yeah, that was me. I'm so sorry. I'm not feeling great. Or, you know, I just had to have a moment. Or they would have come and they would have reassured me. Even if they didn't say, you know, that was me in the room, they probably would have caught me by myself and gone, look, I was just really upset. Everybody was looking, everyone was jolly, like everyone was just like having the crack and, you know, having a bit of fun. And nobody was upset or like had looked like they were visibly upset. So to this day, I was trying to find out who that was, who was crying in the toilet with me, because I wasn't crying. Who was crying next to me, basically? So I did a bit of digging, did a bit of research. Naturally, it's our job. And as I was researching where our building is, it used to be where the police... I don't know if I can say that. Yeah, I can. Fuck it. So basically where I work is where police had lived at one stage. They had training camps in and around our building as well. And in reading old articles, this building where these guards were, what we call our police, they heard noises. Where their quarters were is roughly where the kitchens would have been, which is where our offices are now. And so they said that they heard voices, they heard people being upset, they heard coals being moved, like shovels being used to put coals into fires, but the fires weren't turned on, which is a little bit creepy. And like they could hear coal being shoveled but no fire actually being made. And apparently one member of our Garda force, or An Garda Síochána, our police force, looked into it himself back in the 50s and heard some random story from somebody that apparently a woman whose husband went off to war, because Ireland fought in World War One, that along the Allied side, that when her husband had gone away, that she got very upset because he didn't come back, and she found out that he had died in action, died out in the field, and that she was working in... I keep giving away where I'm working. She was working in the castle at the time and was got really upset. This is much harder than I thought it was. Hopefully you can edit it all together. I do apologise. Oh, you're probably not even using my voice, and that's okay, because then you can write it down. So sorry, Kay. However, I do have another... I've got a gory one, though. Does that count? Does gory count? God bless you, listen to all these messages. Sorry. Okay, so my gory one actually isn't really in a building, because I have some more ghost stories from the castle, which is the castle I work in, which is, you know, too many reasonable people have seen things out the corners of their eye. We have accounts of people seeing figures walk down long rooms when the building's being closed, and some of our colleagues have followed them to be like, sorry, we're closed, to leave, and as it's around the corner, that person has disappeared. We've had stories of people hearing paintings fall off the walls in rooms where nothing has happened. They're just standing there and the painting will literally lift up and onto the floor. You get this in a lot of these kind of older buildings, though. In a weird way, we've kind of gotten used to it. You kind of like, oh, I haven't heard anything, or I haven't seen anything weird. And in one of our back buildings, one door just kept opening at nighttime, just by itself. You have to really push it to open it, and it just kept swinging open. And we were like, oh. But as I said, in a weird way, you get used to it. But my kind of, I thought gore is a bit... Okay, I'm being a bit dramatic with gore, but an icky story that I have, which I feel like I am haunted, I'm still traumatized because of it, is actually in my retail days. So I used to work as a stylist into the stars. No, I wouldn't say stars. I would say I used to dress people. Some of them were famous, some of them weren't, but I used to dress people in a very high-end retail store. That was my secret life before I became a historian, and it was great. It got me through college. But whilst I worked there, we sold very, very expensive dresses, very, very expensive clothes. And so the people the fitting rooms had to be manned at all times. And because the dresses were, you know, up in the hundreds, some of them even, you know, just shy of $1,000, we had to make sure the dresses were pristine and people didn't get, you know, makeup and tan and stuff all over them when they were coming out of the fitting room. So one day I'm there, I'm at the fitting rooms, I'm styling, you have my shoes and my accessories and all ready to go, and this woman picks up a dress. It's about 300 quid. Gorgeous sequin dress. And she goes, I'm going in to try it on. I was like, yep, no problem. Off she goes. She goes in to try it on, and I hear nothing. She's very, very quiet. And I was like, okay. And then all of a sudden I hear like an almighty scream, like a scream that I've never heard before. Like it was like an agony scream. And I was like, what is she after doing? Is she falling? Is she after like getting some bad news? So I'm like, excuse me, are you okay? Like, please come out. So she comes out of the door, And oh my God, I'll never forget it. She turned around, and where the zip had gone up the back of the dress, it was stuck halfway. And I was like, okay, she's just being dramatic. Maybe the dress doesn't fit her. And then I went over and I had a closer look. And what I saw was that her mole on her back had gotten caught in the zip of the dress. But the zip had gone over the mole. So the mole was stuck in the zip on her back. And I looked at my colleague and we got the manager, and I just went, look, this woman's in agony. Call security, call first aid, call everybody that you know. So they're on it. They're calling first aid. We've got doctors and all upstairs in this particular place that I worked in. And I had to get a fork and like unhook the zip under the mole to free the mole. But then part of the mole got stuck in the zip, and there was just blood everywhere, and there was mole everywhere, and this poor woman was just in agony, but like didn't really feel it, because apparently moles don't really have nerve endings, which I didn't really know. But there you go. It was, oh God, it was so I always remember, I was like, okay, you gotta be brave, you gotta do this. And the girls in work were like saying to me today, they're like, you need to tell them the other story, the other work story. So I wouldn't say they're kind of spooky, they're just more kind of haunted. Because I think like where I work now is like your typical ghost stories. That just happens to be the one that I know. But you know, it's the living that you have to be more afraid of, I feel. And one more haunted story I have is again at the fitting rooms of this particular shop. And while I was in this store, there was a woman who came in, and we had these really, really tight bandage dresses. They were all the rage back in the mid-noughties, or late noughties, I'd say. They were all the rage. And this woman was convinced she was an 8. Convinced. So for you guys, that would be like a 4. However, she was quite curvy, so I said, look, you've got a gorgeous figure. I think you're going to be a size up just to fit everything in. These dresses are really, really tight, and you have to make room for your curves. Like, you have to be able to fit everything in and be comfy in the dress. I said, look, trust me, I think you should go up 2 sizes. They're really, really tight. They're like fan belt material. She's like, absolutely no way am I going up 2 sizes. Forget about it. And I was like, no, please, trust me on this. We've had people not being able to get out of the dresses, and we've had to pull them over their heads, and it's been a whole, you know, it was a rigmarole. It was just insane, people trying on these dresses, and everybody kind of wanted to try them on then because they were so hard to get off. It became like a thing. So this woman goes, no, I'm an 8, so for you guys a 4. And I was like, oh, okay, look, whatever, go on, try it on. I said, but like I'm in my head going, oh, I'm gonna have to help this woman now in about 10 minutes when she, you know, not able to get out of the dress. 10 minutes go by, I knock on the door, I say, are you okay? She goes, yep. Real clipped, real short. And I was like, okay. So I give her 10 more minutes, and there's nothing. I'm like, she's been in there 20 minutes now. And so I just knocked on the door and I said, look, I know I checked on you a few minutes ago, but are you okay? You've been in there, 20 minutes now. And I hear nothing. And I said, excuse me, miss, like, I can't hear you. Is everything all right? I'm starting to worry. Maybe she'd passed out or something. Maybe like collapsed or something. So nothing. And then eventually I hear the door move. And as she opened the door, she's sobbing. She's crying. And she just goes, help me. And I was like, I will never, to this day, forget what that woman looked like. There was a trickle of blood coming down her nose, and her skin had like gone blue, all where the dress met her. So right where the sleeves met the skin, where the bottom of the dress met her skin, where it kind of cut into her cleavage, all the skin had started to bruise, was going blue. She was losing circulation. She could not get the dress off, and she couldn't get it down or up to get it off, and she was panicking so much. And I was like, I was like, okay, right. So I called my colleague. I said, get down here right now. And I was like, get us scissors. So I grabbed one end of the dress, and it took all my force. I broke a nail and everything to get under the dress. I tried to stick my fingers to pull the material, to pull the elastic, to get my colleague to cut the dress, shear this poor woman out of this, shear her out of the dress, and we had to keep cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting until she was able to like breathe again, basically, and move. And honestly, to this day, I will never forget. Obviously, if you want more ghosty or scary stories, I can relay some of the ones that happened to my colleague. The one I told you at the start is just mine, but the other two are they're so haunting because I don't think I will ever forget what I saw. Scary on a different level, maybe. I don't know. I hope you enjoyed my little stories for you anyway. As I said, if you want kind of more Halloween-y stuff, then yeah. But as I said, definitely. I mean, I feel like with the Halloween-y stuff, all of our stories kind of sound the same. We all see the kind of same little ghosts popping around. We're just so desensitized to it now. But yeah. Oh, that mole. Well, have a lovely, I don't know what time it is over there for you guys, but I hope you have a lovely rest of your evening, and chat to you soon.
Okay, wow. So 1 real spooky story and 2 just kind of cringe-worthy, haunting, as she said,
yes,
stories. But,
I feel like over here in good old America, our ghost stories, they don't hold a fucking candle to over there, because there's so the history
so
over
history,
there is, it goes so much further back.
Yeah. Okay, so we have another listener story. So this one comes to us from Eric from the Shaken Not Scared podcast. Okay. I've left the name of the hotel out for privacy purposes, but back in 2013, I used to work at a hotel in downtown Chicago as a bellman. Let's just say it was old enough that there was only one person in the entire city that could repair the elevators because of how outdated they were.
Wow.
That said, every day was about the same. The hotel was small enough that I was doing a lot of random tasks for the hotel by myself. I'd help guests take their luggage to their rooms, talk to front desk folks to pass the time, take items to rooms requested over the phone, but oftentimes I stuck around the front hailing cabs, talking to the valet guy, and receiving guests. Some talks with the front desk folks and manager would lead to discussions of weird things that happened in the past at the hotel, including a figure seen in hallways and disembodied reflections in mirrors. I had never seen anything myself until one day something odd happened. I remember it vividly. I remember assisting a man early one afternoon, checking him in, helping him bring his bags up to his room. He wasn't sketchy, skittish, no reason for suspicion. Later that evening, around 9:30 p.m., I get a call on my walkie-talkie from the front, calling me back into the front desk. I go inside, and the girl at the front desk, who was never in a bad mood, was completely flushed and in a panic. The manager was there on the phone, telling someone to calm down and that he'd send someone up immediately. He looks at me and explains that the man was in his room watching TV and that suddenly someone started to knock at his door aggressively. That the man couldn't see who it was through the peephole, but that they kept yelling his name louder and louder and pounding on the door. He couldn't recognize the voice and had no idea who it could be. Now again, this hotel is small, and we did not have security other than cameras around the lobby and at each exit of the building, front and back. The manager asked me to go up and check the room. I don't think I was out of place to tell the manager, "Hey, I'm just a bellman. This sounds like an attack on someone. We need to call the police." But I agreed to go check.
Nope.
Hey, I don't think this is in my job description, but okay. I asked to be handed something for self-defense and got a screwdriver.
Nice.
Screwdriver to the eyeball, man.
I mean, fucking A.
It'll work. The hotel had 2 stairwells at each end of the building, and I thought if whoever is attacking hears the elevator doors open, they're going to run for the stairs. So I'll take the stairs to catch them off guard. They won't take the elevators down because the elevators exit right in the front desk. If they run, they'll have to take the stairs, and I'll run into them. But if they take the other stairs, I could miss them completely, and they could run out the back door without passing the front desk. So I asked the valet guy to go with me, and we split up by running up 1 stairwell each to the 11th floor, which was where this was happening. Damn, 11 flights of stairs running? Yeah. I would make it 2 before I'd be like...
Especially in a hotel, because Aren't hotel floors like they're bigger than?
Well, yeah,
like,
you'd have higher
housing
ceilings.
floors,
Yeah. But sounds like an older place in Chicago, so who knows? But anyway,
Yeah, who knows?
no matter. That's a lot of stairs. I make it to the 11th floor, and I couldn't see or hear any banging on a door. For some reason, the valet guy took a little longer to get there. Well, he was probably fucking panting. But I approached the room they said this was happening in slowly, and as I got closer, I noticed the door was completely off its hinges, with the door frame completely blown out.
Whoa.
Yeah. Immediately, I was like, what the fuck is going on here? I couldn't hear anything, not even the man inside. As I got closer, I could see the door was still in the doorway and was holding on just by the chain lock, which the man had put on the door. Had he not done that, who knows what would have happened? I yelled out for the man and told him I was there and that the valet was also slowly approaching. The man was so shaken up, he was cowering and questioned us before opening the door for us. Was there a door to open? He just had to swing it from the chain. We approached and helped him move the door out of the way. I walkie-talkied to the front desk, telling them what happened, and the manager told us to tell him to pack his stuff and stick around until he was ready. The valet and I waited by his door as he gathered his things and frantically kept repeating how scared he was. Before long, he was ready to go, and we transferred him to one of the other hotels in the area with the help of the police. After we sent him off, we regrouped by the front desk, checking all of the cameras, and couldn't see anyone suspicious arrive or leave that wasn't us or a guest that was staying at the hotel. We never ended up finding out what exactly happened that night, and the manager who had worked at the hotel for over 15 years said that there were occasional instances of people faking events to get better rooms for the inconvenience, which is what this could have been. But honestly, having helped this man earlier and not getting any sense of weirdness from him when he arrived, this man was not that big and actually very lanky. For him to be able to rip the door off its hinges like it exploded into his room is beyond me. Maybe someone else would be able to prove it, but all I know is that night was insane. A little backstory. The building is 14 stories and was built in 1928 and carries the name of another more famous hotel in Chicago that burned down 3 times in fires across Chicago, including the famous Chicago fire.
Damn.
That's creepy. Ooh.
For a door to be ripped off the hinges.
Well,
That's...
yeah. They said it looked like the door frame was exploded
Yeah.
and it was just hanging by the chain.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's-
unless the guy was doing a little fucking PCP in his room and just
Yeah, but he would show signs of that. Like, PCP doesn't keep you from bruising.
True, or
Like-
ripping fingernails off.
Yeah.
Or yeah, that's very creepy. Thank you, everyone, for your creepy stories.
Yeah, that was good.
So that's it. Unless do you have any Halloween workplace stories you want to share before we sign off?
Nothing ever creepy happened to me at work. Or, I can't even think of creepy shit that happened to me outside of work.
Yeah.
Not without being able to explain it.
Yeah. We've talked about a couple things in our Work is Scary part 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But as far as Halloween, it's usually just please let us dress up for Halloween at work, because any excuse for me to dress up and wear a costume, I'm into. I should be a cosplayer. I don't have that level of commitment, though.
No.
Halloween, usually a couple months before Halloween, if we're doing something really involved, I will start on the costumes a couple months before. But the past couple years just hasn't really been.
Well, the pinata costume
took a while.
That took a while.
When I was the ocean and you were Poseidon, my ocean costume took 3 months.
Yeah, your ocean costume took a while.
Yeah.
Mine didn't take that.
Yours didn't take long at all.
It didn't take long at all. It was like a sheet draped over me.
Yeah.
Like a toga.
I think because the year before you were the pinata.
But, yeah.
And I spent months on your costume and mine was just purchased. And so the next year I was like, I want to make a pretty costume for me.
But my Poseidon costume, the awesome part about it was the slippers.
The dolphin slippers.
The dolphin slippers, and we had the gold rope coming out of it, like I was riding the dolphins.
A harness, yeah.
Yeah. That was fucking great. But goddamn, it was so hard to wear because I had because I'm a little narrow fucker, and I had like the big muscle shirt.
Yeah.
You know, where
The
it was like the shirt
padded.
with all the padded muscles and the wig and the beard, and it was
I know.
that shit lasted. What did I wear it for? Like an hour?
Yeah. You wore it for an hour
I
at
didn't.
the Halloween party,
Yeah.
and then you refused to wear it to work.
Oh no, I wasn't going to wear
I
that
was
to
so
work.
mad.
Because, well, what the fuck am I supposed to like?
I know.
I can't sit in that
Yeah,
shit
It's too
at
hot.
work all day.
Okay, so that is our first annual Halloween special. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We tried to give you a little variety of things. If you listened to last week's episode, you'll know that we debuted our rant line. So we have a phone
Yes.
number, which you can always call in with your workplace stories. But if you've just had a shitty day at work for whatever reason, and your significant other is sick of hearing you bitch about work and you need to get it off your chest, call our rant line
Exactly.
and just get it out. And we will play it on the podcast.
We will.
You don't have to say your name, so you can remain anonymous
Nope,
if you want.
It's just like the rest of our podcast. It's completely anonymous if you want it to be.
Yeah. It's cathartic. It's like free therapy.
Yes.
You can get it off your chest.
And even if you don't want your voice heard, we can dictate your rant.
We could.
Or
maybe we can figure out like a voice mod.
Yeah, we can probably figure out a voice mod.
like this, like they do on the documentaries. Maybe we can figure out how to do that.
And that rant line number is 310-818-3273.
Yep, that's 310-818-3273. And if you have your workplace stories, you can still email your stories to us and we will read them on the podcast. Or if you just have questions or comments, concerns, anything, you can email us at fmwlpod@gmail.com.
That's right. fmwlpod@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook at FMWLpod.
And remember, if you like our podcast, you're enjoying our episodes, please, please, please give us that 5-star review.
Yes.
Give us a rating. The best place to do that is Good Pods, Podchaser, and Apple. We are available on a lot of other podcast platforms, but those are the 3 I think that you can actually rate on.
Yes.
And I forgot to say at the beginning of the episode,
Oh, yeah.
we were actually featured on Good Pods recommendations, like the
Yes.
front page of the Good Pods app, which is pretty fucking
That's pretty
cool.
awesome. Yeah, we were pretty stoked. I remember seeing the email and I was like, holy crap, that's pretty good. And then an hour or 2 later, Kay came up to my desk and was like, did you see? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool. So we love Good Pods. If you guys, you're listening to this podcast, you're
Yes.
either a family member or you're probably a fan of podcasts.
Yes.
Download the Good Pods app. It's so cool. You can discover all kinds of podcasts, and they're super, super indie podcast friendly.
Yes.
Much more than some of the bigger platforms. So go check that out.
You can also buy us a beer at buymeacoffee.com/FMWLpod.
Yeah, that helps support the podcast monetarily.
Yeah.
You can also help support us just by listening and rating
Yes.
and telling
Yes.
your friends. But,
This is just like if you enjoy the podcast and you want to buy us a beer,
Buy
this
us a
is where
beer.
you can go to buy us a beer.
yeah.
My beers are cheap, man.
Yeah, someone commented that after they listened to our last episode, that where they live, they can buy a single Coors Light Tall Boy for $2.50.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah, that's not bad.
And last but not least, thank you for listening to our Halloween special. But remember,
Thank you for listening. Oh, but remember what?
support.
Support your
Indie
indie podcasts.
We say it every episode, but there's so many good indie podcasts
Yes.
out there. We've had some on our episodes as guests, and there are so many more that we've mentioned and that we haven't mentioned. Check them out on Good Pods. It's like we said, it's
It's the best place to go if you're looking for good indie podcasts.
Yeah. We're all doing this because we have fun doing it and we
Yes.
love it. And there's so many people putting out really great content
Yes.
for free, everyone. So
That's right.
check it out. You can follow us on Twitter. Pretty much any of the podcasts we're following on Twitter are all doing really great things. And happy Halloween, everybody.
Yes. Happy Halloween.
Be safe. Have fun. Goodbye.
And she told Ghost to shut up.